Water is essential for life, and for many of us, it's something we consume every day without much thought. But what if you've been drinking it all wrong? What if something as simple as your water drinking habits is actually harming your health? This may sound surprising, but for many people, especially seniors, drinking water the wrong way can lead to significant health issues. Mrs. Evelyn, an 82-year-old retired school teacher, is a perfect example of how common hydration mistakes can go unnoticed until they start to affect your body. The hidden dangers of drinking water. The wrong way. How post-meal habits could be hurting your health. For decades, Mrs. Evelyn followed the same hydration practices that most people do, drinking water whenever she felt thirsty, using cold water to refresh herself, and even sipping large amounts during meals. But as she aged, she began experiencing bloating, fatigue, and even sleepless nights that seemed to come out of nowhere. It wasn't until a doctor's visit and advice from her daughter, a nurse, that Evelyn learned she had been drinking water all wrong. Her story is a wake-up call for anyone who relies on traditional drinking habits without fully understanding the consequences. Mrs. Evelyn learned several powerful lessons about hydration that completely transformed her health, and now she's here to share these lessons with all of us. If you've ever felt uncomfortable after drinking water, or if you've noticed symptoms like bloating, fatigue, or discomfort after meals, these lessons might just change the way you view hydration forever. Lesson 1. The right temperature matters. Let's start with Mr. Henry, an 84-year-old man who prided himself on staying hydrated throughout his life. For years, he believed that nothing could be more refreshing than a glass of ice-cold water, especially during the summer months. He relished the cold sensation that filled his body and thought it was a sign that he was properly hydrating. However, as Mr. Henry aged, he began to notice that his stomach often felt uneasy after meals. He experienced random bouts of discomfort that he couldn't explain. Mr. Henry initially thought it was just a part of getting older, but during a routine checkup, his doctor asked him a simple question: "What temperature is the water you drink?" Mr. Henry replied, "Ice cold, always." The doctor explained that while cold water may feel refreshing, it could actually shock the digestive system. When cold water enters the body, it can constrict blood vessels and slow down digestion, making it harder for the stomach to function properly. Cold water can also delay nutrient absorption, disrupting the entire digestive process. Skeptical but willing to try, Mr. Henry switched to drinking room temperature water. Over time, he noticed a significant improvement. His stomach felt more at ease after meals, and the discomfort he once thought was inevitable started to fade away. He now swears by room temperature water and shares his newfound knowledge with everyone he meets. For older adults like Mr. Henry, drinking water at the right temperature isn't just a small adjustment. It's a critical step in supporting digestion and overall health. Drinking cold water can be particularly detrimental to your digestive system, slowing down the process and making it harder for your body to absorb nutrients. So, the next time you reach for a glass of water, remember to choose room temperature water for optimal health. Lesson 2. Sip, don't gulp, Mrs. Clara. A 78-year-old former yoga instructor had always prided herself on staying active and healthy. During her younger days, she developed the habit of gulping down water in large amounts, especially after a workout. She believed that drinking quickly would help her rehydrate faster. It seemed like a logical approach, but as she got older, Clara started noticing that after chugging water, her stomach would bloat, and she often felt sluggish instead of refreshed. These symptoms became more frequent, and Clara began to wonder if something was wrong. After a conversation with her daughter, a nurse, Clara learned that the problem wasn't the water itself, but how she was drinking it. Her daughter explained that when you gulp down water, it floods the stomach too quickly, overwhelming the digestive system. This can lead to bloating, discomfort, and inefficient absorption of the water. On the other hand, sipping water slowly allows the body the time it needs to properly absorb and process the hydration. Clara decided to make a change. Instead of chugging down water, she started taking small, deliberate sips throughout the day. The results were nothing short of remarkable. The bloating disappeared, the sluggishness faded, and Clara felt more energized. She realized that this simple change wasn't just about hydration. It was about giving her body the respect it deserved. Sipping water slowly is a small act of mindfulness that can make a big difference in how you feel. So, take your time with every sip and let the water work its magic. Your body will thank you. Eaton 3. Hydrate before you feel thirsty. Mr. Thomas, an 81-year-old retired farmer, spent most of his life working under the hot sun. For years, he followed the common belief that you only need to drink water when you feel thirsty. After long hours in the fields, he'd wait until his mouth was completely dry before reaching for water. But as he grew older, Thomas began to notice a troubling pattern. He frequently experienced headaches, fatigue, and dizziness. These issues seemed to appear out of nowhere, disrupting his routine. During a routine checkup, his doctor asked him about his hydration habits. Thomas admitted that he still waited until he was very thirsty to drink water. The doctor explained that thirst is actually a late sign of dehydration. By the time you feel thirsty, your body is already in need of water. For older adults, this delay in hydration can lead to more serious symptoms, such as confusion and fatigue. To resolve this issue, Thomas started drinking small amounts of water regularly throughout the day, even before he felt thirsty. He kept a glass of water within arm's reach at all times, and within weeks, he noticed a remarkable difference. His headaches disappeared, his energy levels improved, and he felt more focused. The lesson is clear. Don't wait for your body to signal thirst. Hydrate proactively. By drinking small amounts of water throughout the day, you'll feel more energized and focused. It's a simple habit that can have a big impact on your overall health. Lesson 4. Drink water with meals, but not too much. Mrs. Margaret, an 86-year-old grandmother, loved preparing home-cooked meals for her family. But for years, she drank large glasses of water with every meal, thinking it would help with digestion. However, Margaret began to feel uncomfortably full and bloated after meals, even when she ate small portions. Frustrated, she decided to consult a nutritionist, who quickly pinpointed the problem. The nutritionist explained that drinking too much water during meals can dilute stomach acid, which is essential for breaking down food. This dilution slows down digestion and can lead to the very discomfort Margaret had been experiencing. The solution was simple. Instead of drinking large glasses of water with every meal, Margaret began sipping small amounts throughout her meal. The difference was remarkable. Margaret felt lighter, her digestion improved, and she no longer experienced bloating. She now happily shares this advice with her family and friends. The key takeaway here is balance. Drinking small amounts of water during meals can aid digestion, but drinking too much can slow it down and cause discomfort. Lesson 5. Use a glass, not a bottle. Mr. Robert, a 79-year-old man, had always relied on plastic water bottles for hydration. For years, he carried a bottle with him everywhere, thinking it was the most convenient way to stay hydrated. But as time went on, Robert began to notice something strange. The water from the bottle didn't taste as refreshing, and drinking from it felt rushed and unsatisfying. One day, while visiting his granddaughter, she handed him a glass of water instead of a bottle. As Robert took a sip, he immediately realized that the water tasted better, cleaner, crisper, and more satisfying. Intrigued, he began using a glass to drink water whenever he was at home. To his surprise, the benefits went beyond taste. Drinking from a glass encouraged him to slow down, savor each sip, and be more mindful about his hydration. Robert now keeps a glass of water by his side throughout the day and saves the bottles only for travel or emergencies. He shares this simple tip with others, emphasizing that drinking from a glass improves not only the taste of your water, but also your overall hydration habits. Lesson 6. Hydrate before bed. Mrs. Eleanor, an 85-year-old woman, never gave much thought to drinking water before bed. She assumed her hydration throughout the day was enough to carry her through the night. But as she grew older, Eleanor began experiencing nighttime leg cramps and restless sleep. She didn't connect the symptoms to dehydration until she mentioned it to her doctor. The doctor explained that mild dehydration during sleep is more common than most people realize, and it could be contributing to her discomfort. The solution was simple: a small glass of water an hour before bed. Skeptical at first, Eleanor decided to give it a try. To her amazement, the cramps subsided, and she started waking up feeling more rested and refreshed. Eleanor now swears by this practice, emphasizing the importance of staying hydrated before bed. A small glass of water can help prevent discomfort and ensure a more restful night's sleep. Lesson 7. Add electrolytes for better hydration. Mr. Walter, a 77-year-old retired mechanic, loved staying active well into his golden years. However, despite drinking plenty of water, Walter found himself battling persistent fatigue and muscle cramps. No matter how much water he drank, his energy levels remained low and the cramps continued. After consulting his doctor, Walter learned a surprising truth. Plain water alone wasn't enough to stay hydrated. The body needs electrolytes, minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, to maintain proper hydration and support muscle function. Without these essential minerals, drinking water could dilute the body's electrolyte levels, making symptoms like cramps and fatigue worse. Following his doctor's advice, Walter started adding a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon to his water, or occasionally sipping electrolyte-rich drinks. The change was transformative. His cramps disappeared, his energy improved, and he felt more balanced throughout the day. Conclusion: hydrate the right way for better health. These 7 lessons on proper hydration are simple yet transformative. From drinking water at the right temperature to sipping slowly and adding electrolytes, small adjustments can have a profound impact on your health and well-being. Hydration is not just about drinking water. It's about doing it in a way that supports your body's natural processes and helps you feel your best every day. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope these tips help you stay hydrated and healthy for years to come.